expansion of British power.
Empires don't fall in silence. For India, it was politics, betrayal, broken promises, and humiliation that lit the first sparks of 1857. Let's uncover the political causes that enraged the nation. The company used diplomacy, deceit, and war. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 and the Battle of Buxar in 1764 sealed British supremacy in Bengal. What is Battle of Plassey? The Battle of Plassey, 23rd June 1757, was a small pitched engagement near Palashi or Plassey in Bengal, where the British East India Company, led by Robert Clive, defeated the forces of Siraj-ud-Daulah, largely because key Bengali commanders betrayed the Nawab. The victory set the foundation for British political control in India. Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Daulah, but many of his generals secretly betrayed him. Why did it happen? The Nawab didn't like how the British were building forts, misusing trading privileges, and interfering in Bengal's politics. He attacked Calcutta in 1756, captured it. This is when the Black Hole of Calcutta incident happened. The British wanted revenge and power, so they plotted against Siraj. What happened in the battle? Nawab's army was much larger than the company's, but many of his commanders, especially Mir Jafar, did not fight because they had secretly promised to support the British. British troops were smaller but well trained and disciplined. Because of betrayal, Siraj's army collapsed. He lost and fled. Result of the battle: Siraj-ud-Daulah was captured and killed. Mir Jafar became the new Nawab, but he was only a puppet of the company. The British got control over Bengal's politics and wealth. Why is it important? It marked the start of British rule in India. The company moved from being just traders to becoming rulers. Bengal's wealth was drained to finance British expansion in India. Alright, let's understand what Battle of Buxar 1764 is. The Battle of Buxar was fought on 22nd October 1764 between the British East India Company, led by Hector Munro, and the combined forces of Mir Qasim, Nawab of Bengal, Shuja-ud-Daulah, Nawab of Awadh, and the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Even though the Indian alliance was larger, it lacked unity and discipline. The British army was smaller but well organized and used superior strategy to win. This victory was very important because it gave the company full control over Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa, as the Mughal emperor later granted them the Diwani rights, the right to collect revenue. This marked a major step in the foundation of British rule in India.
Mysore was crushed, the Marathas lost their dominion, and even the mighty Sikhs were defeated. One by one, kingdoms vanished into East India Company hands. Not every state was annexed with blood. Some were trapped in the web of the subsidiary alliance. Rulers who accepted this alliance lost their independence, forced to host British troops, surrender foreign policy, and bow to a resident at their courts. Their crowns remained, but their power was gone. Imagine losing your kingdom, not in war, but by a British rulebook. That's exactly what the doctrine of lapse did. So what is this doctrine of lapse? It was a policy introduced by Lord Dalhousie, the Governor-General of India, 1848 to 1856. According to it, if a ruler of an Indian princely state died without a natural male heir, his kingdom would be taken over or annexed by the British East India Company. Adopted sons were not recognized as legal heirs. This policy helped the British annex many states like Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, and Awadh, and it created anger among Indian rulers and people, becoming one of the causes of the revolt of 1857. In 1856, Awadh was annexed under the excuse of misrule, but instead of justice, misery followed. Nobles, officials, and soldiers lost jobs. Peasants paid higher taxes. Even sepoys, 75,000 of whom were from Awadh, were enraged to see their homeland humiliated. The Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar
though old and powerless, still symbolized India's pride. The British stripped him of dignity, removing his name from coins, pushing him out of the Red Fort, and declaring his successors would be mere princes. His queen, Zeenat Mahal, began plotting revenge.
In Kanpur, Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the last Peshwa, was denied his rightful pension. Forced into exile from Pune, he used his inherited wealth to spread word against the British. His anger was soon to ignite Kanpur. The final insult was absentee sovereignty. India was ruled not from Delhi or Calcutta, but from London, thousands of miles away. The wealth drained to Britain, while Indians starved. This was unlike the Mughals, who at least spent their revenues in India. To the people, it felt as if a foreign hand had stolen their land and their future. By 1857, every class had a reason to hate the British. Rulers dethroned, peasants ruined, soldiers disrespected, and culture insulted. The stage was set. All it needed was a spark. And that spark came in the form of a rifle cartridge greased with animal fat, an insult to both Hindus and Muslims. But how could such a small object set fire to an empire? Stay tuned for episode 3, The Immediate Cause of the Revolt.
Score High.